I was like, wee! And then, I lost you. I'm sorry.
I'm just going to put that part in the before. Just you say we. Going to without any context. It's going to be great. Welcome to Word Funk. I am Leon Thomas. I am joined by Austin Yorsky and Johnny Maloney. Oh, everyone who's listening to the sound of my voice right now. We are recording this the day before American Thanksgiving, which is what I've decided to call it tonight.
Superior Thanksgiving.
But if you're listening to this episode like a while afterwards, it's because scheduling is hard right now with Channel Awesome, and that is why. So
it's harder there for a pimp.
Things are changing to make it better, but presently it's hard. So anyway, yeah.
Would you spin me a ballad, tell me a yarn about the deep history of the Game Awards?
Actually, I can do that for you, Johnny. It's actually a bit of a tradition going back to the BT podcast, at least, if not the podcast I did before that, where we would go over all the nominees and stuff. But this is actually a different show / a continuation of the last one, because if you remember, there was the VGAs on Spike.
I do remember the VGAs on Spike.
Starring Jeff Cayley. And then there was the VGX. I don't actually know what that stands for.
Co-starring Mountain Dew and Doritos.
Yes. Also, Jeff Cayley also involved in that. Now there's this one. This is actually just the Game Awards, which is a terrible name.
So it's also for sports and Dungeons and Dragons.
No. See, that would be helpful to specify, but no. This
is it about the Game Awards?
The David Fincher movie?
Yeah. No. I was gonna say. Maybe that too. So David Fincher's movie possibly. I was gonna say that if you think about it, you've lost it.
Yeah, 10-year-old memes.
Yeah, is it awards about that?
I assume all of the good names are already taken.
I really want to rewatch this right now.
Can we just?
It's so stupid.
Can we just basically assume here that Jeff Keighley is doing everything in his power so that when we get an actual legitimate video game award show, they call it the Keighleys?
That's the thing I was going to say. We have the Academy Awards. You get an Oscar, right? That's what is the Game Awards award called? Is it just the Gamies? What is?
It's going to be called the Keighleys, I think.
I just thought of something. The title for this episode is going to be a banner of the movie poster for the game, and then right under the game, it's going to say, in parentheses, awards. So the title to this episode is going to be The Game Awards. I just want everyone to know that I'm going to do that. And if for some reason I forget to, then I've screwed up. So anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead with this is very important.
This is the least important thing that's ever happened in history, but
except for the last one.
This is a terrible year for video games, guys. A few good games came out, but on the whole, this was just unpleasant in every way. Culturally, just all the publisher shit, just everything that possibly could have went wrong. I'm glad this year's over, but there was a few things worth recognizing here, and they're doing it now. This is actually not affiliated with Spike. This is an independent thing. I mean, Nintendo's on board, a bunch of publishers are on board. Hideo Kojima is going to be there to announce Metal Gear Online, which they already announced. I don't know what, I guess promote it. Who knows?
They're going to show footage of everybody experiencing sprawling, confusing cutscenes from different angles all at the same time in different languages. And you're gonna get a montage of gamers around the world in many, many, many different languages going, what?
Yeah, I don't know, because we'll talk about Metal Gear Online another time. We don't have enough information right now. That's a whole other can of worms. But let's just run through the nominees really quick, guys. I mean, there are some pretty funny things in here. The one I saw that jumped out to me immediately was nominated for Developer of the Year, Ubisoft Montreal.
Absolutely.
Did they send in the nominees like right before Assassin's Creed Unity came out, and now everyone is like really upset about that, or were these nominees sent in after?
The cutoff was November 25th, and it says in their thing that they got some advanced review code. So I assume the people who nominated these played them. So they knew. They must have known. What
you don't know is that they played Assassin's Creed Unity on a zoetrope. They just got a wheel and like spun it really fast in front of people. And they were like, wow, this is really immersive. Like, I feel like I'm really watching this wheel.
All right. So let's just run through a couple other categories here, guys. Game of the Year is Bayonetta 2, Dark Souls 2, Dragon Age Inquisition, Hearthstone, and Shadow of Mordor. Have you guys played any of these? / are there any things you're surprised aren't here?
Let me see.
I have played Shadow of Mordor.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little surprised that it's there. I don't I'm sorry, but I don't really believe that any game that can easily be described as, well, it's like blah meets blah, which is what Shadow of Mordor really is.
That's what I'm saying. Is like any other year, it wouldn't even be in the discussion. But 2014 was so anemic that just the Nemesis system that Monolith introduced here is like Game of the Year worthy. But
yeah.
That's kind of sad.
Yeah.
Leon, were you going to jump in there?
No, I was not. Because I have not played any of these games at all.
None?
Even a little bit.
Dang.
I know.
Leon, you're so out of the loop. You got to be with all the cool kids.
I know. I'm still in Just Cause 2. That came out in 2012. Wait.
I like it that Troy Baker is only nominated once this year.
Yeah, they don't even have two different. They used to have a best female and a best male performer. This year it's just best performance. Because, like I said, there's just nothing really standing out. I personally, for Game of the Year, I'm really, really surprised Smash Brothers Wii U isn't here. Like,
don't you know? Nintendo doesn't make games anymore.
Not only are they making games, they're making the best games.
Oh, Austin, stop talking from your non-North American-centric video games are about fun and enjoyment and games that work.
It worked at launch.
Are properly bug-tested and everything like that. You gotta open your mind, alright?
There's a couple categories I want to hit here. One I think perfectly sums up 2014, which is Best Remaster.
That's a thing?
Yeah, that's exactly. All of the best and best-selling games released this year were just remakes or repackaging of things that already existed. Tomb Raider Definitive Edition, Master Chief Collection, which was broken on launch and remains broken at the time of this recording. The Last of Us Remastered, Pokemon, the two remakes of those games, which are the worst entries in the Pokemon series to begin with, and Grand Theft Auto 5, which I didn't like to begin with.
Yes, but Austin, you recognize that the Master Chief Collection that they reviewed was actually delivered to them on an Etch-a-Sketch.
Johnny, how sad is it? There's a whole category that they filled with remasters. It's
pretty fucking ridiculous. I mean, you might as well have you might as well have a category that's like best game that came out like years ago, but we all wanted to play it again and we finally got round to it. Baldur's Gate 2. Mario Sunshine, Super Mario Galaxy, like fucking, like what the fuck? Like these games have already had their accolades. We don't need to pat ourselves on the back and be like, yeah, remember when Last of Us got Game of the Year last year? Let's do it again.
It says more than I ever could. There's one more though before we move on. This is a category that strikes me as really well intentioned. I'm not so sure about it though. It's called Games for Change.
Yeah, oh yeah.
What does that mean?
Presumably, it's like socially progressive games. Like here, there's the Mountain, Never Alone, which is like an Inuit folktale thing they made a game out of. The Last of Us DLC, which introduced LGBT characters. This War of Mine, which is an indie game about war from the perspective of the civilians, not the soldiers. And Valiant Hearts, which is a World War I game, which doesn't like glorify it.
Okay. That's neat, I guess.
I like the idea of this category, but I don't know, games for change, and then like giving them their own little like progressive ghetto. Like no one else does that, right? There's no like Oscar for like least racist movie. It's just
movie that you put on display in front of all your friends to make them think that you're really deep.
Yeah, it strikes me as like they looked at all the categories and like, man, most of these are just kind of murder simulators, right? That doesn't look good. And they're like, well, some people released actual art. You want to highlight that? How do we group all of this?
Except for Hearthstone. I mean, like seriously.
Yeah, it's a trading card game.
Just cards, dude.
But every other game in the major categories, barring I guess Nintendo's output, is like M-rated and gore and tits or whatever. Like they had to look for 5 examples of video games that were made about like topics. Like
the best games that I've played this year, like the ones that stick in my memory the most. I was thinking about this today. I was racking my mind because at the end of the year I usually like to go, well, like what stuck out to me. Not to just make a list and be like, here's what I think, listen to me. But just to, like what is it that's important to me? It's neat to look back on the year and just say, why did I focus on these titles? And The Vanishing of Ethan Carter was certainly one. And the Sherlock Holmes game, Crimes and Punishments, was absolutely another. Alien Isolation for
I was gonna say, The Vanishing of Ethan Carter is nominated for Best Indie Game.
Alright.
For what that's worth.
Yeah, but I'm just going through these things in my mind, and I've got like these 3 or 4 titles, and I'm kind of going, and okay, no, there's got to be more than that.
Shovel Knight.
Yeah. But I mean, and I'm not ragging on Shovel Knight or like retro games or anything like that, but seriously, how fucked up is it when you want to claim that one of the best games that came out this year was a game that did nothing but rip off games that are 30 years old?
I mean, it's a super awesome, like, Super Nintendo game.
Absolutely.
It would be a classic if it came out 15 years ago.
I am totally, like I said, I'm not ragging on that because there's nothing wrong with playing old school platformers or something like that, but it is 2014, and to put this in another way, I'm sick and tired of people trying to recreate Led Zeppelin on the radio.
For me, it's just Smash Brothers and Persona Q are, like, easily the best games that came out this year. And Smash Bros. Is only nominated in Best Fighting Game, and Persona isn't nominated for anything, so...
And I'm pretty sure Leon's going to say that Just Cause 2 was Game of the Year.
Yes. Let's just pretend they remastered it, and we can say it's Game of the Year.
They could have just put it up on Steam, like, not changed anything, but just called it, like, Just Cause 2, like, HD or something. Just called it, a new version of it, and they could have gotten nominated, because there's no reason not to, right?
I guess not.
Like who's gonna call them on it?
Right. Is there like a tribunal for this sort of thing?
Oh my gosh. This all supports my thesis that this was a shit year. Leon's got the right idea. Just be 5 years behind.
Right. Just
wait. Valkyria Chronicles, Game of the Year.
Yeah.
The PC port, yeah.
Just play games from the past few years that are like undeniably good, and then when you get a 2014 that rolls along, you just don't have to give a shit.
Hey, TIE Fighter re-released this year. There we go. It's a tie. Valkyria Chronicles and TIE Fighter, Game of the Year.
Games are really expensive to make, guys. I think we're going to see a lot more of these remasters in the coming years, as the next gen libraries fill out with stuff that don't take much effort to
Do you find that kind of strange though? Because for years people have been after backwards compatibility. I guess this is why backwards compatibility. They're like, wait a minute, we're sitting on a gold mine. But for they want access to Nintendo's back catalog. They want access to all these things, but nobody's doing it except for, of course, good old games. And I guess, yeah, well, PlayStation has their upcoming streaming thing, doesn't it?
Supposedly, yeah, I don't even know what's going on with that.
I hear it works terribly at the moment, but it's not like it's done or anything, so. Yeah,
we'll see. But there's definitely more money to be made in just giving him a little tweaks, little facelift, and putting him back out at full price. Majora's Mask 3DS is on the way. Gonna buy that again.
Yep.
Third time. Whatever. I've depressed myself, Johnny. You want to take the next topic?
I suppose I could. This week, gentlemen, I was availed to the presence of a movie trailer on the internet that's pretty exciting. It's a tale about science gone awry, where basically a guy creates a theme park that is populated by real-life dinosaurs. I know you're asking the question, how did they get real-life dinosaurs? Well, what if I told you, okay, that they basically found some fossilized DNA and were able to kind of extrapolate, entire cross-species of these dinosaurs and clone them. It is a science fiction story, of course. Johnny,
if this doesn't lead into We're Back, a dinosaur story too, I'm going to be furious.
No, it's Valley of the Clonosauruses.
No, I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry to burst your bubble, but I saw the trailer for Jurassic Park.
The original? You watched the old...
It's remastered. It's remastered.
It's remastered. Oh yeah, and another movie trailer came out from something called Jurassic World. I guess I should tell you about that. It's a story about a guy who makes a theme park that is populated with cloned live dinosaurs. Now, I know what you might be thinking. How do they get dinosaurs? Well, it is a science fiction tale. What if I told you that they found some fossilized blood and managed to, from the DNA in the blood, extrapolate a whole bunch of different cross-species of dinosaurs and then clone them / genetically engineer them to populate this amusement park? Gosh, that sounds really familiar. In any case...
You were waiting for us to jump in.
I know. Leon, you're not gonna help him?
Oh, I'm sorry.
You're not gonna help a brother out?
I'm sorry.
I'm fine. I can walk on my own 3 legs, Austin. But so Jurassic World is coming out, and people are pretty stoked. From executive producer Steven Spielberg, the trailer says. Not director Steven Spielberg, executive producer Steven Spielberg.
That means so little and little. Whenever they do something like that, it speaks from executive producer Steven Spielberg. Well, then that means he's going to be somewhat in charge of marketing and a few nuts and bolts and details, but have nothing.
He read an email. He read an email and went, "What? No." And then he read the next email and went, "Yeah, okay, that'll work for me."
Oh.
Yeah, sorry. I'm really sorry, but everybody is super pumped about this movie. Everybody I know is so stoked. They are they're rocking it like it's fucking 1993. When did Jurassic Park come out? I don't even know.
Johnny, here's the important thing. Because I haven't seen this trailer. I'm specifically avoiding it. It's a long story. But I've heard that the CGI isn't as good as the animatronics from the original. Is that your diagnosis as well?
I'd love to be able to say yes or no, but I mean, in the first place, we should recognize that, like, CG work continues pretty much well up until the day that the movie gets released, where they're just like, oh, fuck, oh, shit, oh, god damn it, oh, okay, that doesn't work, oh, fuck, okay, alright, okay, there. Now it looks like a dog.
That's how computers work.
Yeah, so I'm kind of cool with that. I got no problem with any of that, where it's like, oh, the special effects are shit, because, dude, you're not watching, like, the actual movie. When the movie comes out and you say, oh, the special effects are shit, then we can have, like, scene-by-scene comparisons against practical and CG effects. And people are probably going to do that. It's a little presumptive to try and compare the two based on something that has just kind of been, like, pushed out the door, as in, like, okay, rough cut, guys, look, Chris Pratt has a tight shirt on. Yeah. No, my problem is that, yeah, like, everybody is so, like, ridiculously fucking stoked for this movie, and I don't know why, because I feel like I've seen it already.
Well,
and also, I'm just dropping this bomb out there. Apparently, no Jeff Goldblum.
No, he will not be shirtless and splaying at all in this movie.
It might be like the Terminator where they CGI him in there.
Yeah,
like old Arnold.
It just like a random
or the cloning.
I recognize those ahs. They cut them from the last Jurassic Park movie.
Or like how in the original Jurassic Park where they filled in the holes in the DNA with frog DNA. They'll do that, but with Jeff Goldblum this time. So all the dinosaurs have like speech impediments. It'll be great. I'm sorry, Leon. I stepped all over you.
No, I was just going to say, the thing about Jurassic World, I mean, first of all, I'm going to see it. So I'm not going to pretend like I'm not. The thing about Jurassic World is, even if it looks like a lot of the story elements are going to be from the first Jurassic Park, it's not like Jurassic Park came out last year. It's been well over 20 years since Jurassic Park debuted in theaters. And if this is basically, in a lot of ways, a sequel/retelling, it's not that strange. I mean, we get sort of mad when movie franchises are rebooted too soon, like the Spider-Man franchise. There's a very short window between Spider-Man 3 and The Amazing Spider-Man. But Jurassic Park, if this is a retelling of Jurassic Park 1 in a lot of ways, Jurassic Park 1 was a long time ago. I was a child. I remember actually being in the theater seeing that movie, but I was very, very young. And a lot of the people who are going to watch Jurassic World did not experience that. 20 years is a long time for a lot of people.
I was 3.
You're tiny. You're like a tiny baby.
I actually remember, Leon, because obviously I wasn't old enough to see the first one in theaters, but when I saw the third one, I think that was the first time I realized that movies could be bad. Like when you're young.
Austin, that is a loss of innocence. Too young.
You know how like when you're young, you just accept shit, right? Like you just watch it in Teletubbies or whatever, and you're like, yeah, this is fine. Like it never occurs to you when you're an idiot or when you're young that like entertainment can be bad until a certain age. I think it was Jurassic Park 3 where I was like, hold on, this sucks. What's going on here? That's why I always remember that. That's an important developmental point for me.
Okay. I just want you to know that I've already created the banner for this week's episode. So, anyway,
Before you continue to, Leon, I just want to ask one question, like, seriously, because this is supposed to be, like, a proper sequel. Maybe they felt like The Lost World and Jurassic Park 3 were underachievers.
Yeah.
Artistically, entertainment-wise, economically.
Okay. I like 2 well enough. It's clearly inferior, but I don't really feel like it deserves all the hate it gets. It's fine at points.
I need to ask this one very basic question.
Okay.
What fucking insurance company, like, what fucking insurance company, after all that shit goes, yeah, okay.
I think we're not supposed to think about it. That's number one. Number two is there are far more egregious injustices in the world, in the world of business than someone funding something that's dangerous. So,
yeah.
so
that may be so. That may be so. But I mean, you're an insurance adjuster, okay?
All
right. And a guy comes to you and he's like, "Yeah, I kind of want to open my dinosaur theme park." And you're like, "Oh, a dinosaur-themed theme park." And he's like, "No, dinosaur theme park." And you're like, "Oh, with actual dinosaurs?" And he's like, Yeah, actual dinosaurs. Be like, "Oh, okay. Well, can I see your operating reports?" No.
Correct me if I'm
That
wrong,
sounds legit.
Johnny, but isn't the premise that these take place on, like, Isla Sorna and stuff, like these islands that aren't part of the United States or whatever, so there's not, like, laws?
Yeah. I mean, isn't it like what is it called?
I don't know the premise of Jurassic World, but Park, I believe, explained at least in the Crichton novels.
Oh, you know what? I just realized something. Yeah. I don't know how everything in the world works, but I do know that in Jurassic Park, what's his face said, "I own an island off the coast of Costa Rica." So he owns the island. He's basically dictator for life of the island. So I'm not sure how law works there.
So what you're saying is waivers.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm sorry. I'm just like, okay, some guy approaches you on the street and was like, "Hey, want to see a real live dinosaur? Just, could you sign this, please?" You guys are like, "Let me at it."
It's weird that I remember the line, "I own an island off the coast of Costa Rica," and not like, "Welcome to Jurassic Park" and all that other shit. I remember the legalese of this shit.
Well, there was the whole lawyer character who was, like,
so
concerned about it.
Surely, if you are selling tickets to this place in the United States, which you'd have to be, you couldn't just be like, "Hey, do you guys want to see a dinosaur? You just gotta get on this boat with me, and it's gonna be maybe like a 5-hour ride or something like that. You bring the kids. Maybe
it's like how internet gambling somehow is legal. Like, you can be on the internet in a state that does not allow gambling, but because it's on the internet and the casino itself is based in a state that does have gambling legalized, it's okay. I could be wrong. I've heard that's a thing. I don't gamble, so I may not be the best person to say something about that. But I've heard about things like that.
You know what would be the best?
All the lawyers who listen to this podcast, every single man-jack of you, let me know, please. Because I want to be edified on this. I cannot, in good conscience, enjoy this movie until I've figured out what kind of insurance they have and how I'd be covered.
All right.
Guys, I think the best bait and switch for this movie, because you go in, you're expecting, okay, they make this theme park with dinosaurs, they get loose, they kill people, and then some characters survive and get escape, right? But what if you go to the movie and the park's fine, all the fences work, everything's safe, they've figured out all the kinks, it's just like Disney World, right? But the whole movie, like the whole runtime is just the legal wrangling of their lawyers trying to get all the permits and shit, to get all the things cleared to get people into the park.
Isn't that basically Star Wars Episode 1?
An allegory of man's inhumanity to man.
To build the American legal system.
I think we all know who the real Tyrannosaurus Rex is, and then it ends. It says executive producer Steven Spielberg.
I just think that'd be great. Because something has to go wrong for there to be conflict, but, I mean, you wouldn't design a park to fail, so they have to have a Nedry to sabotage it or whatever. But what if no one does?
Apparently, the villain in this one is science because they genetically engineer. This is another fucking horror trope, whatever that I cannot fucking stand. This idea that it's like, oh hey, we can mess around with genes now. Do you guys feel like making a perfect, unstoppable killing machine and then nothing will go wrong and everybody will be happy and rich forever? Yeah!
That's basically what my episode about Jurassic Park was about, how science is so often portrayed as the boogeyman and rarely the hero.
Well, because who would buy tickets to go see a movie where they use genetic engineering to fix, like, inherited diseases and then everything's okay? The
only time science is the hero is in Back to the Future. Because Doc Brown is a good guy, and it's so rare.
Although science got them into that situation. So.
Oh yeah, science almost created like quantum incest. Yeah, you're right.
Damn you, science! You sick bastard.
There's got to be more movies where science is the hero.
They are, but they're rare. They're rarer than you think. And when science is the hero, it's always something like badass around it. Like in Jeff Goldblum, he was also in Independence Day, and he's a scientist, and he does come up with a sciencey way to stop the bad guys, but he has to be flown there by the tough military man, and he gets all the credit, and he smokes.
I feel like science was the hero in John Carpenter's The Thing.
Okay.
Well,
kind of.
I mean, no one survived that movie, but
I was gonna say. But that doesn't mean that okay, that's up for debate. But at the same time, that doesn't mean that the movie was a loss.
I was gonna say Ghostbusters because the villains are supernatural and the heroes use unlicensed proton accelerators to defeat them.
That's weird to think that Ghostbusters is a pro-science message movie.
Don't you think so? Can you dispute that?
I mean, it is. I'm totally recognize that because it's guys searching for evidence and finding there's a very scientific approach that they take to it. But in the end, we are talking about guys that shoot ghosts with lasers.
That's what science is. It's just a preamble to the part where we start shooting ghosts with lasers.
There you go, kids. If you ever want to shoot ghosts with lasers, stay in school.
Yep.
It does annoy me. I know we've been on this for a little bit. We'll transition in a sec. It does annoy me, though, when people are, like, anti-science or whatever. Like, man's hubris has doomed us all. But it's like, bitchy, you have no problem using electricity or the internet or your phone. Like, science is perfectly fine when it benefits you.
Yeah, science is when science is portrayed as a negative in science fiction films, it's always like everything we have up until now is fine. But
it's just the future stuff.
Whatever's right around the corner is bad, and then when we get to right around the corner, it's the next science fiction danger movie is whatever's next after that.
Yeah.
Did you guys read the exchange? There was an exchange between a doctor and a patient in Texas that happened just as the Ebola scare, sprouted up in Texas. It was the best thing I'd ever read in my entire life.
What was it?
This person came in and was like, yeah, I want the Ebola vaccine for my whole family. And the doctor was like, I'm really sorry, but we don't actually have an Ebola vaccine, but, we do have other vaccines, like we've got the flu vaccine. And the patient was like, no, I don't believe in that. I hear it gives you autism.
Oh, my.
Hey, yeah, no, it's science is great when it does exactly what I want, but when I don't, when I don't need to care about it or know about it, ooh, it's freaky. Ooh.
Yeah, I think that's what we in the business call cognitive dissonance, Johnny.
Yeah, might be.
What I want to know
mental discomfort.
What I want to know is Jurassic, we call this is a sequel. This is a sequel, not a reboot. But usually when there's a long time between the original and sort of the resurgence of it, in the resurgence or reboot movie, there's always these they replay the same lines from the original, like in the RoboCop remake. Someone had to say, I'd buy that for $1 in a completely different context that made no sense. I wonder if somewhere in Jurassic World someone's going to say, shoot her. I wonder.
Or like how in Under Siege 2 they had to have a train explode instead of a...
That's not exactly what I meant, but okay.
No, somebody is for sure going to be a clever girl.
Yes, I want.
That's what I was gonna say.
I want Chris Pratt to look at the leading lady and say, "You're a clever girl," and then I want him to wink at the camera.
I thought you said then she turns and bites his face off. That would be a great twist. If the people were dinosaurs all along.
Yeah, she's like rips off a mask like in Scooby-Doo, and she just goes, "Rawr!"
And then it reveals that we're actually watching the third remake of V.
I get that reference.
Oh my.
Why are we writing for a studio in Hollywood, you guys?
Yeah, we can come up
We're
with
idiots.
talk.
Did we have a third topic, or did we not think that far ahead?
No, we didn't think that
wait,
far
Austin,
ahead.
I'm sorry, are you saying because we're idiots because we can't apply our sensibility of schlock and, like, horrid dialogue and really reductive characterization into a career? Or are you saying that we're too stupid for that?
We're just
Like, to have any skills?
I don't even know, Johnny. There's a special kind of not good at your job you have to be to make it in this world.
I do want to talk about one thing. It's sort of a callback to what we did in a previous episode. We talked about the fact that Blade Runner 2 is going to be a thing and that the script is done. Here's two new things that have come up from that recently. Ridley Scott is not directing it. So he looked at the script and said, okay, but he didn't write it and he's not directing it. He's going to be in a sub-Steven Spielberg executive producer role in this.
From guy who said, yeah, I guess so, Ridley Scott.
The other thing, we were speculating about whether or not this was going to happen, but it is confirmed that Harrison Ford is reprising his role, which, again, we don't know for sure that means he's human, but I don't know. He's in it, and Harrison Ford just wants to play his old science fiction characters again, and that's fine.
Leon, do you need a hug?
I don't.
If they confirm it one way or the other, Leon, you could always just say it takes place in a different continuity than the original.
Yeah, my headcanon will always have it one way or another, but still. No.
Does it occur to anyone else that every story you talk about, whether it's the remasters in the Game Awards or Jurassic World or Blade Runner, all of the shit is remakes and reboots? Of it.
Let's talk about something like super original right now.
I listened to the new Aphex Twin album today.
Oh, the new one, not the original one? No, I don't.
They sold out. I don't know who that is.
Me either. I listened to the new album by Walk the Moon today, which was fine.
It was fine. 5 out of 10. Now Thomas.
I give it 3.5 stars out of 6.
I should have been a music reviewer. That shit's so easy. Have you ever read music reviews, like in like Rolling Stone or whatever? They're like a paragraph max.
It sounds good in my ear.
Exactly.
It makes my head pop up and down sometimes, and occasionally I want to listen to it in the car and sometimes at home. 3 stars.
You know what we should do, guys? We should do a spin-off of Word Funk where we give dating advice, dating and sex advice. We can call it Word Hump. What do you guys think?
I think you have discovered my true calling in life, Austin Yorsky.
Before
I pledge myself to you and this endeavor.
Oh my God.
I think it'll work, guys.
Before we go, I actually do want to talk about something. Months ago, when Word Funk was still in its infancy, and now it's like a full-grown man or something.
We're a toddler now.
I'm sorry, it could be a woman. I don't want to impose gender roles on a podcast. What I mean is, I started to do this 1 minute end of the podcast segment called Other Podcasts I Listen to, and then I ran out of podcasts that I listened to, because even though I listened to a bunch, after, a few months of doing it, that's it. I have no more. But I've actually started listening to 2 more in the past couple of weeks, and I want to talk about them briefly before we go. One is called Serial. Serial as in reoccurrences of things in different episodes, and not breakfast, not Cap'n Crunch. Serial is about the first season is about a murder case, but the second season, which is almost certainly forthcoming because there's a lot of demand for it, will be about something else. It's basically a news story week by week in like a very in-depth kind of way. And if that sounds boring, it's not. It's just not. It's hard to explain why this is so cool, but you just kind of have to listen to episode 1. It's free. You can go to Serial. I think it's serialpodcast.org. The other podcast I started listening to is called Mission Log, and I can't believe I haven't been listening to it for about the last 2.5 years since it's been around. It is basically a Star Trek podcast by 2 people who research the episodes very, very extensively and give a lot of trivia about it, and then go over the meanings, messages, and morals of each one, and they sort of do it one by one. They've been doing it so long that they've already passed through all of the original series and original cast movies, and they're like well into the next generation right now. So I have a lot of podcasts to catch up on. So those are some things that you could also listen to when you're done listening to Word Funk.
You wash the taste out of your mouth, if you will.
Yeah. Yeah, if you want to hear something more cerebral, and not just us talking about dicks and David Fincher movies, you can
and
do that.
Stephen King.
And Stephen King.
Do you hear they're making The Stand into, was it 4 movies or some shit?
What?
You didn't hear about this?
Is there going to be a Stand cinematic universe?
Of course there is. You guys didn't see this?
No. What's going on?
Oh gosh, I had to look this up real quick.
Okay.
I saw it the other day, and I just assumed you guys would have seen it too.
No.
Yeah, because I spend all my days paying attention to everything that Stephen King does.
Jeez. I gotta find a good link.
I hear Stephen King doesn't like bullies or Jesus.
Yeah, okay, here's from IGN. The Stand adaptation will be 4 movies.
So they're really banking on the first one to be a blockbuster. If the first one fails, do they just scrap the other 3, or they're like, okay, we're obligated?
Well, that's what they did with the Golden Compass movies.
Oh yeah,
which I'm still sad about. I really like those books. Have we ever talked about the Golden Compass?
I have not seen it or read it.
Nah, I'm an adult. I only read when I have to these days. Learned to read when I was 5 years old. Why the fuck would I want to do it as an adult? Yeehaw!
What does that?
I don't know. They're making The Stand into a bunch of movies. I like The Stand, but that doesn't sound like a good idea to me. It sounds like I would rather it just be like an HBO show.
I'm sorry, HBO is a little busy with Foundation, Austin. If you don't like it, take it back to the bookstore and ask for something a little more erudite.
I think those are different.
They can only do one show at a time.
Yeah, I'm going to say that those don't seem like they have too much overlap. A quick coda to last week's Ubisoft story. Did you hear about their latest shenanigans, those motherfuckers?
No, what?
Oh my god, this is just, I'm just to preface this. This is why Season Pass is a fucking stupid idea and people should stop spending money on it.
That's only the first thing. First, yes, Johnny, they canceled the season pass for Assassin's Creed Unity and refused to refund people who bought it, although you do get another Ubisoft game. That's what you're stuck with. You don't get a choice.
You're getting all the DLC still. If you bought it, you're still getting it all, but they are canceling sales of it.
Is there DLC that make it not suck?
It's still like, I don't know what it's going to be. But on top of that...
I don't know if we're going to the same place, because what I want to talk about is that they're not sending out review copies of their new racing game, The Crew, and they put out a statement saying not to trust reviews of it, Which, if that doesn't instill confidence in your product.
What does that even mean?
They said, hey, don't trust those crafty critics. They don't understand the true brilliance of the game we're going to release without letting anybody see it first.
Press release. Don't believe the press.
Don't believe their lies.
Oh, before we go,
You gotta watch out for those sneak press fucks.
This is gonna make no sense for, anyone who's listening to this. I just want you guys to look at this image I just put in the chat right now of,
Oh yeah. I saw that today.
Yeah, it's a big beauty.
I'm gonna airbrush that on the side of my car.
Okay. Alright, anything you guys want to say before we go?
Oh, jeez, I'm out of stuff to say.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
That's fine.
Yeah. I think that,
What?
I think that I'm against, I think I'm gonna take a hard stance here and, speak out against mold.
I think Johnny's like the human version of one of those Family Guy jokes that goes on too long and it stops being funny, and then it starts being funny again because it's still going.
Don't like mold, you guys. Don't like mold.
No.
Don't like.
I hear they use that for.
So,
Isn't that part of like how they made penicillin though?
it was.
I feel like you taking such a hard stance is like saying that you don't want people to have their syphilis cured.
No, I didn't say that.
You're flip flopping now. I feel like.
No, because you know what? I can say that I'm pro medicine or pro science because be like, hey, science back in the day thought Earth was the center of everything. Fuck you.
Just another self-talking politician.
Oh, Leon.
You are a slave
like that. I didn't give you babies.
You are a slave to the pro-mold or anti-mold lobby or whatever one makes the most sense for this joke.
Leon, before you go, because you're about to go.
I know.
Something just popped up in my feed. Independent Today sequel just got confirmed.
Oh, that's all we're talking about next week. That's the only thing. God,
just everything in history is being rebooted. Not a single thing will be spared.
Is Jeff Goldblum in it?
Is it going to be called ID5?
I don't know. Why would I have this information?
Jeff Goldblum.
All right.
Is he confirmed? Jeff Goldblum.
I don't think so.
God damn it. Fuck it then. Never mind.
Jeff Goldblum is said to be in talks.
Okay. That's a start.
When he finally signs the contract, he's going to look into the camera and say, checkmate.